Hey K-popers, welcome back to Hallyu, where it's time for a brand new K-pop news update. It's been a week for the ages. BTS are breaking records left, right, and center and winning awards all over the place, even beating themselves to do so. We also had two big wins for K-pop idols in court that included letting boy idols defer their military service, and of course we'll talk about the scary potential outbreak that put K-pop on hold early this week. And by the way, the 2020 Mamas are going on as I'm finishing this video, but I'm going to try my best to get a special recap video out for you guys sometime soon. Before we get started, a quick thank you to Hallyu's honorary producers. If you want to be on this list and show off your bias group to everyone watching, you can support my work on Patreon. Patrons also have a say in lots of videos before they're released, so if you want to leave your mark on Hallyu, come join us over on Patreon. Alright guys, let's jump right in. This is your K-pop news update for December 6th, 2020. Let's start with a quick recap of the pandemic-related news that rocked the K-pop world earlier this week. Of course, I did make two breaking news videos earlier in the week as these stories happened, so check those out too if you haven't already. So what it boils down to is two separate incidents, the first being centered around Uptension's Bitto. After sharing a meal with a friend on November 22nd, Bitto found out that that friend tested positive and subsequently got himself tested, and it came back positive. This sparked a huge cascade of contact tracing and testing because Uptension had attended Show Music Corps and Inkigayo at the end of last week, exposing over 20 different K-pop artists to the virus. While another Uptension member, Kogyo, did test positive, thankfully no other cases have come out of that potential super spreader event. This could have been really bad given that the artists who underwent testing included Stray Kids, aespa, and NCT among many others, but thankfully we did not have a major outbreak. And now the second story. Similarly, Everglow's Yirin came into contact with a friend who later tested positive. Much like Uptension, all of Everglow was immediately tested, and unfortunately Shihyun also tested positive. Everglow is now in self-isolation, but again, just like with the first case, the worry became that these members were filming on Yeol's Sketchbook before finding out that they contracted the virus. Thankfully, as you can see, there were plexiglass barriers and other measures in place, and so no other confirmed cases have come out since then. Obviously, I wish all four of these idols the very best in their recovery, and while this is really upsetting news, I think we should also be really grateful that the social distancing and that the policies that are in place on these shows prevented anyone outside of the actual groups from getting it as well. Now, some great news came out of the courts this week as the Goo Hara Act has been approved in Korea. This marks the conclusion of a long legal dispute where Goo Hara's brother and father were fighting an attempted legal claim made by her mother. I'm not going to go too deep into this in this video as I did release a Goo Hara tribute just recently that you can check out, but essentially Hara and her brother were raised by her grandparents after their mother abandoned them at a young age. Despite not raising her, the mother tried to get 50% of Hara's inheritance after her death, a pretty disgusting move that prompted this legal battle. Hara's father did the right thing, refusing to comply with that and giving that 50% to Hara's brother instead. This is what spawned the contentious legal battle between the two sides, but thankfully today we now have a final resolution. The Goo Hara Act, which protects estates from parents who did not raise their children, becomes law in Korea now and leaves an eternally positive mark on the late Goo Hara's legacy. And now for some more big news on the legislative front. The Korean National Assembly passed a bill this past Tuesday which would give recognized pop culture artists an exception to further postpone their military service. The exception would let an artist wait until the age of 30 to have to start their mandatory service, and this is huge news. While it's not clear exactly what the definition of a recognized male pop culture artist is, you can bet that BTS are the primary reason for this change. This will allow BTS's Jin, who is the oldest member of the group, to delay entering the military for an extra year, giving BTS one more year as a full 7 members. The idea behind the new law is that if there is an artist that's elevating the country's reputation in the world, it's to everyone's benefit that they have more time to pursue those careers. I think this is great and it makes total sense for everyone involved, and I'll be curious to see who is granted these exceptions going forward. Alright, you know what time it is, BTS news for the week. And once again, with the end of year award ceremonies, there were a ton of headline-making BTS news items. First off, they got a mention from the legendary Paul McCartney on the Smartless podcast. When asked about the current pop acts whose artistry reminded him of the Beatles, he named BTS and said, "For me, it's not really because of the music like it is for the fans, but for me it's about just seeing some young kids go through what we went through. BTS, Korean guys, I like watching them and seeing what's going on. I think they're good." And now let's talk about their charting, because wow, is this week insane on the charts. Their album B became their 5th to hit #1 on the Billboard 200. And the single Life Goes On also debuted at #1 on the Hot 100, making it the first non-English song to accomplish that feat ever. And with both of those debuts, they became the first band in US history to debut a song and an album at #1 in the same week. The only other artist to achieve that is the one and only Taylor Swift. And it wasn't just one song, they had 7 songs chart on the Hot 100 this week. RM and Suga also had debuts on the Hot 100 Songwriters chart, debuting at #3 and #9 respectively. The boys also became the winningest artist in music show history this week with 118 total wins. And would you believe the win that broke that record was against themselves? Absolute madness in the best way possible. Spotify revealed their top K-pop artists this week too, and to no one's surprise, BTS topped the list with 4.7 billion streams in 92 different countries. Absolutely incredible. And just yesterday, BTS swept the 3 grand prizes at the 2020 Melon Music Awards, those being Song of the Year, Artist of the Year, and Album of the Year. Now the 2020 moments are actually still going on live as I write this, but BTS has so far won Album of the Year and Worldwide Icon of the Year. A sweep of the day songs looks extremely likely at this point, along with awards like Best Music Video, Best Male Group, and Best Dance Performance for a Male Group. I'm personally not an ARMY, but I'm a K-pop fan, and seeing an artist do so well on the global stage and putting out a great image for K-pop in general makes me really proud, and I wish BTS an even more successful 2021. Though at this point, I have no idea how they can top themselves next year. Alright, now let's switch over to the new releases we got this week, which included some high-profile debuts. We'll start with one of those debuts as the big hit and CJ ENM boy group Enhypen took the stage with Given Taken. Rappers Yeonda and Zion T released this collaboration called Hanadu. Brand new boy group Bay 173 gave us Every Little Thing Is You, a follow-up single to their brand new debut. GOT7's comeback is finally here. This is Last Piece. EXO's Kai made his solo debut this week too with the song ONEUS are back with the bright, energetic, and lighthearted Buseo. BoA has returned in her 20th year with this track called Better. Longtime soloist Ben released Lonely Night, a beautiful vocal-driven ballad. Day6's Jay and Keshi joined forces to release the song Pillows. And last but not least, NCT 2020 dropped Resonance, a mashup of their previous releases in one epic song. I'm about to raise the roof. There were lots of other K-pop songs released this week too, so let me know what new songs you've been checking out down in the comments. My pick this week is Better. I love seeing BoA slay after all these years, and Better is a great release for her. And now back to the news, where Day6's Jay has made a huge meaningful donation to the JED Foundation. He donated $100,000, which will help protect the emotional health of teens and young adults, as well as helping with suicide prevention. Blackpink passed 50 million subscribers on YouTube this week, earning them a Ruby button from the platform. This makes them the first Korean channel to earn one. And speaking of Blackpink, they announced The Show, which is a live online concert that they'll be hosting on their YouTube channel on December 27th at 2 p.m. KST. I'm actually a little bit surprised because in the teaser they dropped earlier, several cities in particular were shown, which made me think they were teasing a future in-person tour once we're back to normal. Either way though, this should be a great time. JYP's Stargirl group Twice has passed 10 million album sales across her discography. Considering Twice has only been around for 5 years, that is a huge achievement, so congratulations to them. Soloist Yukika has left her label Estimate Entertainment on November 30th, which was when her contract expired. In a statement, Estimate said in part, "Ahead of the expiration of Yukika's contract, we've been in discussion with her for some time. However, there was a mutual agreement to not continue with a renewal under Yukika's intentions and desires on her future endeavors." Fix's Ravi released a beautiful song called Pause this week that I want to bring some attention to. It was in collaboration with the Ministry of Gender Equality and Family, and it showcases a really positive and meaningful message while also raising awareness about the crimes committed against women via online messaging. It's really great to see artists using their medium to bring light to these issues, and I'm so glad that Ravi has done so with the song Pause. Now, I know I mentioned BTS in Spotify's 2020 Wrapped already, but they also released lots of really cool other top 10 lists about K-pop streaming this year. I'm not going to run through them all individually here, but definitely feel free to pause the video and check them out at your own pace. Pentagon's Hui has had his military enlistment delayed due to the exposure on music shows at the end of last week. Due to his required 14-day quarantine after crossing paths with Uptension members who tested positive, his original enlistment date of December 3rd has been postponed for now. In some really heartwarming news given everything with Mnet lately, Igan of After School and Produce 48 fame made her acting debut. She's starring in the web movie Motelier, which is now available on streaming platforms. Niju's debut album, Step in a Step, has had over 370,000 pre-orders. With their massively successful pre-debut single Make You Happy and now this, they're off to an amazing start, and stay tuned because in a little over a week I'm going to be talking about them a lot more and you won't want to miss that. Alright, now let's talk about what happened and what didn't happen on music shows this week. I think I might have jinxed us when I asked if things could get any crazier on music shows in last week's news video, so I apologize. In large part due to the outbreak and self-isolation that I talked about at the start of this video, the show Champion, and M Countdown all did not have broadcasts this week. On the 3 shows that we did get, BTS swept them. As I mentioned earlier on Music Bank, BTS were up against the Legends BTS, and in the end, BTS beat BTS to take the win for Dynamite. BTS didn't go down without a fight though, as they came back and beat BTS twice on Show Music and Inkigayo for Life Goes On. I don't think I dare make any statements about next week's music shows, but if you're feeling brave, let me know how you think next week will go on music shows down in the comments. Alright K-popers, you're officially caught up on everything going on in the K-pop world. Let me know what new songs and what news items stood out to you down in the comments. Thank you guys so much for watching, and stay tuned because tomorrow we're going to be counting down the best K-pop songs of 2020. So make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss that and everything else that's on its way to you this month.